Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Britt Carpenter on Usula Radio. Thanks for joining me this morning. It's really crazy how we're still operating today and we're still doing things in this new norm fashion. And we've adapted. We've adapted to life as we know it today. And here we sit in April, almost the end of April, moving into May. And we've been in self-isolation for over 6 weeks, basically, at this stage. And there's been a lot of turmoil, ranging from small businesses having issues, not operating, not functioning, some of them closing down, to healthcare workers with not enough, protection, not enough resources out there to do the jobs that they're out there doing, to the fact that here we sit in the year 2020, close to one of the biggest events in most students' lives, and the graduating class of 2020 isn't able to participate in what's been almost a rite of passage for as long as somebody can remember, and that's walking in their graduation ceremony, their commencement. And what I find to be fascinating is the fact that this is something that some people just take for granted. They just think it's a graduation. You're just walking across the stage and you're just getting a diploma and you're just stepping off a stage and your name's being called. I think it goes a little bit more deep than that. And I wanted to have this show this morning because I wanted to be able to talk to some of those that are graduating in the class of 2020 and were supposed to be in a commencement ceremony with the rest of their friends as seniors. And I wanted to get them together and sort of hear about it. So I gathered a few people here today, thanks to some of my friends. Thank gosh I have old friends who have kids that are this young. So I was able to get them online. But I have with me this morning Hannah. Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
Hannah, you're supposed to be graduating this year?
Yes.
From where?
Cherry Hill High School East.
Cherry Hill East.
Ooh.
This is the big moment for you. The
It
final
is.
hurrah. How are you feeling about this?
So far, graduation is not canceled because I'm in New Jersey, so school might be happening. We might be going back. Probably not. But so far, our Disney trip for the senior class, which is sort of a huge thing for us, that was canceled. So everything sort of is up in the air about what will happen with prom and graduation.
So being in New Jersey, you aren't on the shutdown order like us here in PA are, where in PA, Zach and Jake, you're both in PA, correct?
Right.
So no more school for the rest of the year for you guys, right?
Correct.
Correct. You guys have had prom canceled.
No, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's to be determined.
To be determined.
Yeah.
How about graduation for you two? Jake, how about for you, Jake?
Well, for us, they're planning on moving it to July 24th in the BASD football stadium. So it's outside in July. But it's going to be kind of hot for that, I would think.
And if anybody knows the BASD stadium, it's like smack dab in the middle of Bethlehem with nothing around it. There's no shade. Wow. So there's a potential of it being moved to July.
Yes.
This isn't a definitive.
No, that's like what they're planning. And if it doesn't work, then that's
it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Hannah, you guys are still to be determined on your graduation?
Yes.
Yes. Your personal feeling, your personal thought on it. What are you thinking?
I'm hoping that it happens, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea because it is the second or third week in June, and I don't know if this situation is going to be over by then. I hope that we're all able to be with one another, but I'm not too optimistic anymore.
Oh no.
How about you, Zach? Are you guys canceled altogether, or is it to be determined for graduation?
For graduation, it's gonna be a drive-in movie style thing, and it's gonna be on June 11th.
June 11th. And when you say drive-in movie style, explain that to me a little bit. Tell me what's happening.
So there's gonna be like drones, and there's gonna be people driving in for each graduation ceremony, each person, and that's basically it.
Really? And how many people are you graduating with, Zach?
About 300.
300? Is that your mom in the background?
Yeah.
Good morning, Vicky.
Good morning, Brett.
Hi. And Zach, your mom and I graduated together. We actually walked where, Jake, our graduation was in the middle of June in a really hot, sunny day, right, Vicky?
That's right.
I remember that distinctly, you know. And we had that. So it's interesting to hear, you know, these different ways of potentially it happening. I mean, driving style, what do you think about that, Zach? I mean, that's so off the norm of what a graduation is, a traditional cap and gown ceremony. How do you feel about that?
I like the old style better
You do. Why?
because it's more traditional.
Okay. So you like that traditional. You feel that cap and gown, getting on that stage, walking across is something that, you know, you wanted to do. You were expected to do, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
I think they should change it, but since we're in this big epidemic, we can't really change anything.
It's hard. This is so uncertain. It's not their fault. It's not your fault. It's not our fault. But this is reality. This is life as we know at this point. This has become what everybody's called that new norm, which is a little scary because I'm not quite sure I really understand what the old norm was. But here we are getting used to something totally different.
Well,
And
the world got weird.
the world got really weird, Jake, didn't it? Got really weird, or it got weirder, I should say.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement. It was already a little weird. It just got a little bit weirder. So
Yeah.
Jake, you know, tell me about your experience. You know, it's postponed or pushed back to July. And if that doesn't happen, then it's gone. You forget it. You got to get a diploma mailed to you in the mail.
Yeah, probably. I would assume so.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this? You know, you went to school all these years to finalize the last of your schooling with your friends by walking across the stage, to have your name read off, to shake your hands, receive that piece of paper and walk off. How you feeling, man?
Well, I'm not too mad about not having school. I'll say that. I don't care about prom. I don't really care about that stuff. I just wanted to graduate. I went through a lot of like special development classes in the past, speech development all throughout elementary school. So now not to be able to walk, that's kind of like, well, that's just kind of like thrown away now. Like that, and I just got all my community service hours just this year before March, right before March, because I left to go to Utah in March. I wanted to get all my community service hours before then. So I got them all and then get home and they're saying, oh, you're exempt from community service, all this and that. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
So part of your graduation is you had to do community service?
Yeah, 60 hours within the 4 years.
Is that common in all schools for Hannah and Zach as well? Did you have to do community services?
Yeah.
No.
No? Jersey just operates totally different.
Well, for one class, it was my environmental studies class. We had to do community service, but that was just for a specific class. It wasn't for like the school.
And Zach, you had to as well?
I do community service for credits.
For credits. Okay. So Jake, here you were busting your rear end to get your community service done so you could go and enjoy your time. You get back and they tell you, here you are, you're way ahead of the game. They're like, oh, it's canceled. Don't even worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like, damn, I got robbed? Or did you feel like fulfilled because you actually completed it?
I'm still.
Oh, are you talking to him or me?
To Jake. To Jake. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, honestly, I like what I did for my community service hours. I like to give back to the community. So I wasn't like upset about that, but it just kind of like I rushed so well, I shouldn't have waited so long to do it, but I rushed so quickly to do it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care about it. At least I could say I got it done. Some kids don't even have an hour.
That's awesome. What a good attitude that is. And I don't think there's a lot of, 17, 18, 19-year-olds out there with that type of attitude. A lot of them would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I busted my rear end to get that done and I don't have to even do it. So that's a good attitude. You got it done. You put your hours in, you can say it's done and you finished it. So it's something you completed. So,
yes.
And what was the community service you did?
I worked at Soup Kitchen, and then I worked at something called Special Olympics, and Special Olympics, and then I did something called what was it called? Something for baseball for special needs kids, and I did that every fall and they made me dress up as the mascot, so I was there doing that for a long time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about and how about you, Zach? What was your community service that you had to do?
I had to do the outreach program and a bunch of other ones, and I did 120 hours of service.
120 hours?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I've done 85, and I had 35 to go.
So you did 85 of the hours that you had to complete. Do you need to complete the rest of them?
Yeah, I had 35 to go.
You have to do the 35 to graduate?
And I'm still working on it.
Wow. Okay. So what happens then if you don't get those 35 hours in because we're in the middle of a pandemic? Are you able to graduate still?
I'm gonna get it done. This is so far so good on
Awesome.
the whole thing.
Love it. I love to hear that. So then let's go, Hannah, you're very active with your school. You started, you started some major movements within Cherry Hill East. You have, yeah. Hannah, you're a bit of a voice there at Cherry Hill East.
A little bit.
You started the LGBTQ.
I did not start it, but I'm the president this year.
The president of this year.
Yes.
All right, so here you are. You're the president of a club that exemplifies diversity.
Yeah.
And it exemplifies how people can adapt when they are quote unquote different, which sucks to say because that's not different at all. But when I say it like that, it's because that's what the rest of the people will encompass. And they're not different. People are not different in any way, shape, or form. At the end of the day, we're all the same. But you are up against some
haters,
hard things against yourselves. All of you are. If you've gone through school, you've gone through puberty, you've all gone through some type of difficulty. You've all had some type, and I know I have. I know school for me wasn't exciting. I know school for me was a chore sometimes. I mean, to hear this from you guys who are missing that makes me feel really good. But tell me a little bit how you're feeling about this, Hannah, and how about your friends are feeling that, you all work so hard to make a place for yourselves, and here this is.
I'm a little disappointed, I guess, that this is happening. I was sort of looking forward to like the senior activities that we get to do at my school, the Disney trip, prom. We have senior field days towards the end. Just to like not go to like they don't make us go to class, like we go outside, we have food trucks, like then we get to graduate. I was looking forward to all of that. A little disappointed, I guess, is the best word to say.
Yeah, I bet. Disappointment. How about you, Zach? You disappointed? Feeling disappointed?
Yeah, I missed post prom and prom.
So were you looking forward to going?
Yeah.
You were. So this was like you. How about you, Jake? Were you looking forward to prom?
I mean, yeah, I was gonna go with my girlfriend, but I mean, it wasn't like oh, prom.
All right, maybe Jake was the wrong person to bring on that. You were going for the girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
And so your mom could take pictures of you dressed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Zach, you mentioned you're missing prom, Zach, and it was something that you're looking forward to. How about just the fact of finishing the year with friends, and you were on the football team, correct?
Correct.
So you and the team aren't even going to have one last hurrah there together on a stage or in a social setting. How do you feel about that?
I feel a little disappointed, but we finished 4 wins and 7 losses.
There you go. So you're going back to that positive on it. Did you find your senior year to be a year that you were looking forward to in order to like start a new chapter in life?
Mm-hmm.
So how are you feeling at this stage, knowing that everything you were expecting or looking forward to has changed or could be gone?
It was a big surprise to me. I was like expecting everything to be normal.
I think that we do. I think we go to bed at night, we wake up in the morning, and we just expect to go through that routine each day. We get up, we go to school, we come home, we do the homework, we work, we talk to our friends, we eat, we go to bed, we wake back up, we do it all over again. But now we don't have that. Now it's almost like Groundhog Day every day. You wake up and it's the same thing. Hannah says she's disappointed. Zach says he's disappointed. Jake, how are you feeling about this? How do you feel about the whole graduation aspect? What if July doesn't happen?
And I'd probably be a little disappointed.
Yeah? What's the biggest disappointment of it?
The biggest disappointment of it? Probably not getting the diploma, having it mailed to you, just looking in the mailbox one day and be like, oh, there's my diploma. I saw my sister went, got hers, my best friend did. Everybody did, and it's like I'm here just getting it in the mail, like, oh darn. So I mean, yeah, I'd probably be about right, getting the diploma.
And I think you all deserve that. I think that's something that you all deserve, whether it's the actual diploma or not when you go across the stage, or it's that recognition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's recognizing the fact that you all spent some long, and I hate to sound like a grueling years
Mm-hmm.
going through school. Let's face it, school, if I talk to anybody, nobody's going to tell me school is fun every year.
It's not.
Was it the best times of your lives? No. But that's all you guys knew at this point in time. You don't know anything different. School is all you knew. And this was your big to do. And it's funny because a lot of people out there are comparing this to the fact that they're saying that you guys came in around the time of 9/11. You were born into the world around the time of 9/11. And there was such uncertainty and craziness then. And now your rite of passage in 2020 is being taken away from you because of this pandemic. How do you feel about that analogy, Hannah? How do you feel about that? Do you think there's a civilization there?
I've actually mentioned that to my mom. I was in her stomach when 9/11 happened. I was born in December, so she experienced that and sort of the world changed when that happened. So I think that as we're leaving, the world is going to be changing again, and that things are going to be really different because of this. There's probably, I've heard people saying like it's going to be a lot more online shopping now, and like maybe no like movie theaters are going to be suffering. But I think my perspective is that yes, things are going to be changing. I'm going to be appreciating seeing my friends a lot more, giving them hugs and all of that. And I'm hoping I'm able to do that before we all go off to college. So it's a lot of craziness. And I think that things are going to change. But at the same time, like we're all coming together again during all of this and supporting one another, especially like supporting the medical professionals and all that they do. And I think it's kind of like the same thing when people came together during 9/11.
Very cool. Very cool. How about you, Zach? How is this this analogy with you holding up? How is this feeling? How do you feel about all this?
I treat everything like this whole epidemic like a hurricane situation.
Oh yeah? How
Like
so?
how people like scavenge for food and stay in shelter.
So, and this is pretty crazy, isn't it? Like when a blizzard hits around our area, people rush to the store. They buy out all the bread, all the milk, all the eggs. The shelves are empty. A pandemic hits, and people go to the store and they buy out all the toilet paper and paper towels, which I thought was a little interesting. They didn't buy food. But I sort of likened it to like this is being like the blizzard times, how you hunker down, but like we've been hunkered down. So, Zach, have you been in self-isolation with the family and social distancing this entire time?
Yes.
You have. How's that been with the family being, because we're forced to be with people at this point. If you live in the house with people and you're not going to work where you're essential, you're forced to be with them. How is that for you, Zach? How's that working out?
It's working fine. I just try to play video games and journalize and do other stuff.
So you write a journal?
Yeah.
You do? Does that help you get through the days?
Mm-hmm.
It does. So is it something you do on a regular? Was it something you did before the pandemic started? Was it something?
Yeah.
It was. All right, cool. So you had an outlet, you had a hobby other than gaming.
I'm also a scuba diver.
You do scuba. Have you been able to go out and scuba at all during this?
Not yet. Hopefully, I
Not
have
yet.
a vacation during July.
So right now, if you could do anything today that you were able to do, the pandemic was lifted, what's the first thing you would do, Zach?
Probably take a bunch of walks and go to stores.
Really? I would stay away from the stores. Shopping isn't one of my favorite things. Just all black T-shirts and I'm good. But stores, I get it. I get it. It's that wanting to be around people.
A
You
vinyl
know?
record store.
What's that?
A vinyl record store.
Oh, you're okay. That's a different type of store than record store. You're into records. You're into vinyl.
Yeah.
Nice. Did your mom or dad have any vinyl for you that they gave to you?
Yeah, but especially for my sister.
Ah, vinyl is awesome. That's a great hobby to get into. It's a good collection to have too. How about you, Jake? What about you? Have you been? I mean, you're working
Yes.
and you're working overnight.
Yeah, because I thought, I'd be playing Xbox at that time and staying up all night. Might as well make some money.
That's a good attitude, right?
What?
And what are you doing for work?
Well, right now I'm working at the FedEx warehouse in Northampton, PA.
Okay.
But normally I work at the airport. So that's down right now, obviously, because of this pandemic. So I'm like, I want some kind of money. I personally don't want to get the unemployment checks because I want to feel like I'm earning my money doing something. My mom and sister, they're getting it, but me, I've always had the mentality like I want to work for what I get. So then my cousin works at the FedEx. He's like, hey, come on over. Weekends are 28 an hour. So I work weekends and I work, well, Sundays and Mondays and then work Sunday through Wednesday. So it gets tiring, but I think it's worth it.
But you're keeping yourself occupied throughout this.
And it's a good workout.
Yeah, I bet. You're probably moving all night long that you're there.
Yeah.
That's a brutal shift, but I guess for somebody your age, it's not brutal. I mean, like I'm just getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning,
Oh yeah.
and you're just getting home. So,
Yeah.
but that's a good mentality. It's impressive to hear that, you could be sitting at home collecting an unemployment check.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You could be receiving that money. You could be sitting at home and gaming all night long and, but you want to have something that's going to fulfill your time. And I love that.
Give us a discount from FedEx.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. I love it. Coming in with always an angle. That's awesome. So let me ask you about work then real quick, Jake. You're working. Is there safe practices going on there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do
we
you have to
have
wear gloves?
no, but we're required to wear masks and we get our temperatures taken before we go in.
Oh, this is it. Okay, so you're getting a temperature taken prior to going into work each time.
Yeah, so like there's like a lobby building where it's like security, you go through security, and then before you go through the next round of doors, there's a nurse there with a scanny thing and they scan your forehead and then they give you a mask. So you have a mask. So you're required to wear masks and get your temperature taken.
So you walk through the door, you go through another door. There's a nurse in there. She scans your forehead.
Yeah.
This sounds so like so sci-fi-ish. You know what I mean?
Well, they had 19 cases there because there's somebody who works there. She's deaf, and I do sign language. So she was telling me that there was 19 cases there. So like if your temperature is up to a certain point, they're just gonna send you home.
Really?
Yeah.
I want you coming in.
No.
So when you're on the floor and you're doing in the warehouse and stuff, are there social distance? Do they have like areas where like you got to stay away from others and is it marked?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, they'll have like lines on the ground for like where you're gonna clock in at, or like they say one person in the bathroom at a time, but like no, you can't see that. There's no window in the door, so you just kind of go in there and just cross your finger. There's nobody else in there.
I get you. It's difficult. And Hannah, have you been social distancing this entire time and staying with the family?
For the most part, I think the good thing is that my parents are not together, which sounds so weird. I'm able to go back and forth between houses. Um, so that's been kind of enjoyable for me to sort of have like a change of scenery, and a little bit more interaction with people. Um, because then I'm able to see like my 4-year-old half brother who like keeps me on my toes, and it's like fun to be around somebody younger. Um, so for the most part, yes, just been going back and forth.
All right, that's cool. So you're getting, this is so crazy, but you haven't seen your friends really at all? Hannah, you
Yeah.
haven't seen your friends? No?
I've been FaceTiming them almost every single day, and my friend was like, "Why don't you just come quarantine with me? We both haven't been out. It'll be fine." And I'm like, "No, I can't do that. I wish."
So when we talk about graduation, I'm going to go back to that only because honestly, I mean, personally, to me with graduation, and that's just my mentality in my head back then, I could probably have taken it or left it back then when I was in high school. That was just me. That was the experience I had. That was the mind frame I was in. It has nothing to do with like, oh, graduation's. I think graduation is amazing. I mean, after I graduated, I sat through so many graduations because I was in the education field that it was awesome to see people get up on that stage, to walk across, to have the parents and the friends and the peers cheering for them in the audience. And all of a sudden, we have such a difference. We're going to a drive-in movie theater, Zach tells us. And so that's a different thing. Zach, what do you think about this? Have you been to a graduation before?
Just for elementary and for with kindergarten.
Okay, so
And
to do this driving thing, what are your feelings on that? I'm interested in this. This is cool. I mean, it's that they're coming up with a different way of doing it. What's your feeling on that? I mean, you're just going to be in cars, right? You're not getting out of cars?
I think eventually we'll get like cars. Like once we get out of the thing.
I see your mom in the background shaking her head. What's up, Vicky?
The graduates themselves are going to be allowed to get out of the cars.
They will.
They're going to step out of their vehicle next to their car and be recognized. But all their immediate family has to stay in the car. And yeah.
So you're all going to go to a drive-in movie theater. You're going to park in the drive-in spots.
And treating it as a drive-in movie theater, yeah. But it'll be out of the middle school because it has a better area than the high school. It's less hilly.
This is pretty interesting.
Yeah, they have it mapped out, very detailed. We got a whole list of instructions just yesterday. So Zach probably hasn't even seen it yet. It's pretty fresh off the press.
So Vicky, with you being a parent, and I mean, you've graduated. You walked in what, 3 commencements, Vicky?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
3. You walked in the high school. You walked in your undergrad, and you walked in your grad class, your grad school. And you are somebody that I always remember as being somebody that I look up to in the academia world, as being somebody who is a role model as a student. And here you are now with your son not being able to graduate normally. How do you feel about this?
Well, obviously sad, but I am always someone who tries to look on the bright side of every situation. And so I can't help but think, since you referenced my graduations, that I almost didn't go to my graduate school graduation because I thought, I went part-time and it wasn't the same as undergrad. But then I thought I might regret it one day if I didn't go. So even though it was pouring down rain, I went. And so I'm especially glad now that I did. But for Zach, like he mentioned, I am so fortunate he had a kindergarten graduation where they literally had cap and gowns. Actually, it was preschool, sorry.
Yeah, preschool.
Preschool graduation. They literally had cap and gowns. And I have visions of him. He was like the mayor, blowing kisses and waving to everybody as he walked in. But then also he went to Catholic school for the first 8 years, and they have an 8th grade graduation. So I got to see him in a cap and gown and have that really special event as well. So I know some people don't have any of those, so at least I have those memories. And then I'm also fortunate that they're not just mailing the
right,
and that they're actually doing the drive-in. I mean, I think that's the most we could hope for considering these times.
Will somebody come up to the car and hand him?
I believe that once they're done standing and being recognized and get back in the car, on the drive out, you roll down your window and they hand you whatever.
This is interesting. very interested to see how this gets pulled off and everything.
Right.
How many students are you graduating with, Zach?
300.
300.
Mhm.
That was less than what we had in 19.
I think it's about the same. I think we had 289 actually.
Did we? All right. How about you, Jake? How many students are in your graduating class at Freedom?
I'd probably say around 400-ish.
Okay,
Not much more.
not much more. All right. And Hannah, how about you? How many are at Cherry Hill East?
500 plus. I think 565 is the exact number. Maybe I might be wrong, but 500-ish.
So roughly between the three of you, roughly 1,000, students alone that aren't going to be really in a traditional graduation right when they're supposed to graduate. So this affectation isn't just the three of you, sitting here with me today. This has reached everybody, all your friends, all your peers, all their friends, all their peers, and in other schools. This has become, really the new norm for seniors. Not many of them are going to be seeing a graduation, and not many of them are going to be able to see that rite of passage. How do your parents feel about that, Jake? I mean, Vicky said how she feel. How do Chad and Holly feel?
Um, well, my dad says, well, it looks like we wouldn't have to sit through a whole nother graduation because my last name's W. But that's a joke and all. I mean, they're in the
I
same
knew
boat
what you
as
meant
me.
though, because I know you were your dad.
I mean, they're in the same boat as me probably. Like they'd be upset too that they couldn't watch me graduate too because they both had their graduations and they saw my sister graduate at Stabler Arena and then I guess they'd be upset. They'd be disappointed.
Well, I'm going to tell you right there. You said Stabler Arena has always been the place that Bethlehem Area School District has walked in graduation, and I think because Stabler Arena, which is at Lehigh University, Stabler Arena. I think because it is a sort of a prestigious place to be able to go for a graduation. That's a big thing. That's
Hmm.
a huge thing to miss out on that. Was yours going to be in your high school, Zach? Your graduation was going to take place inside the high school?
I think if the weather's nice, right, it would be in the field, the
Yeah.
football field. But then if it rains, it would be moved inside and limited tickets. So obviously, if it rains this year, they can't move it inside. So I guess they'll be standing in the rain, driving in the rain.
This drive-in real quick, is this immediate family only? Like you couldn't like pack up the RV and bring like grandma and
Yeah, they
grandpa
said
and put
large
Anthony
vehicles
on the
like
roof?
that will not be allowed. They've been very specific. I mean, I'll have to send you the description of all these instructions. It's rather detailed. But I wanted to share, if you're interested, on a neighboring school district, Springford. I found it interesting what they decided to do is they're having individual graduations. So for a whole week long, they've scheduled a time that each graduate comes in and walks across the stage with a professional photographer, and they will each have an individual graduation, and then they're going to compile it all into a video that they'll live stream the day of the actual graduation.
That's
That's
cool.
also creative. So people are definitely getting creative.
Well, you have to be.
Yeah.
Hannah, I know that your mother is extremely involved in your life. Vicky, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brett.
Awesome. You got it. Hannah, I know that your mother is extremely involved with your life and very supportive. I mean, it's your best friend.
Yeah, she is.
Really is. And
Biggest supporter I have.
I got to tell you, the two of you are like a yin and yang and a balance. And it's funny because Hannah sometimes the balance of the parental side.
Yeah, we're like the Gilmore Girls. That's like how we like to describe ourselves.
That's a good description. I never thought about it. So next time I see your mom, I'll have to call her Lorelai. Is that who that was? I never saw the show, but I do know that name.
That was right. That was right. Good job.
Not a name you forget. I mean, come on, hello. But how's she feeling? How are she and your father feeling about missing out on their daughters? Your mother's only child.
Yeah. She's made her opinion very clear to me. She's extremely disappointed, and I think in a way she's more upset than I am. Because she wanted this so badly for me. Like she knows that I've worked like my butt off through school, middle school and high school, and like there's definitely been some low points with school for me. Um and then sort of like senior year and like junior year were like really good for me. I've sort of well, would be ending on a high note if I was going to be graduating. I mean, I'm ending the year on a high note, I guess.
Okay.
Still, but I know that she's really disappointed and upset for me because she wants this so badly for me, and she just hopes that like maybe I'll still have like an actual graduation or they'll figure out something. But I know that she's definitely disappointed as many other parents are.
Interesting. I bet. I bet. I mean, this is, taking everybody, I think it might hit parents a little bit harder, than the children sometimes, because this is a pride and joy moment for parents. Like, Vicky said she's going to be able to be there, but it's going to be so different. It's just this drive-in style, where they're going to be driving up, in a field and parking and getting out as they're being announced. And, that's just in itself. I mean, that's amazing that they're doing that. I love it that they're going to have recognition, but it's still not the same. Still not the same. Jake, did it mean something to you to be able to have to walk across the stage and get that piece of paper and at
Yeah,
graduation? That yeah,
accomplishment.
accomplishment. So to you, that was important to you that you were going to walk across that stage and get that piece of paper.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Did you feel ripped off at this point if July doesn't come around? Just first of all, it's not June, so it's not your graduation. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I don't feel ripped off. I mean, there's some things in this world you can control, and there's some things you can't control, and you just kind of have to. You just have to put it in a good perspective. No matter what, anything bad could happen, but you just put it in a better perspective and just look at it the brighter kind of side to it. At least we might be having a graduation. At least, we had an education for the past 12 years. Some people in other countries don't even have that. So I mean, you can look at it at all different kind of angles and perspectives.
I love it. And you just use words that I tell people all the time. We can only control what we can control. The rest of it, we have to just cope with, deal with, and manage.
Mm-hmm.
This is out of our control. None of us can fix this situation. I mean, actually, we can if we stay at home. We, self distance, all the rules that people were saying, flatten the curve. But none of us can, like, wiggle our noses or blink, and all of a sudden, magically, the situation changes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just adapt to it. So that's a positive attitude. I love that, and I hope that people listening out there hear that, because it's so important for them to know that here you are. This was an accomplishment for you. This is
Yeah.
something that you were looking forward to, but that attitude's refreshing to have. The three of you, I mean, myself, I graduation for me in high school was an accomplishment. It was showing that I was able to make it through some of the most difficult years of my life. Schooling for me wasn't easy. I wasn't a huge fan of school. Maybe it's because I wasn't a huge fan of myself, because I didn't really know a lot about myself in school because things were so crazy. But like, I don't know anybody that can actually sit back and say that this is an accomplishment for them. I mean, Zach, it's an accomplishment for you, correct?
Mhm.
You went through, I mean, was schooling easy for you the entire time you were in school?
Not entirely, but some parts were easy.
Okay. And not entirely. And same here, man. I mean, there were some days that I dreaded waking up and getting out of bed and having to face myself, let alone go into the hallways of a school and face all those people, the 300 and some people that I was graduating with, plus all the other students, and that's a hard thing to do, but we've all overcome. We all have gotten to this stage, and we all deserve to have that recognition. I mean, is there something, Hannah, that you think that can be done if your graduation is canceled, if Jersey decides to put the squash on it all, that you might do differently, like to hold the graduation for yourself, or?
Honestly, I don't know. Um, my parents were talking about like, do you want a graduation party? Like, do you want to do something the day that your graduation like is like supposed to be? If like I don't have like the ceremony and all that, whatever. I don't know what I would do, honestly. I told them no right now just because, like, I don't know.
Is
It
I
it's, like,
hear
hard
it
to
in
think
your
that,
voice.
like, yeah, like, it's, like, am I actually gonna have something happen? Or, like, are we even allowed to have, like, a graduation party? Like, it's just yeah.
Hmm. I never even thought about that. Oh my gosh, here I am thinking about like the graduation itself, and I totally forgot about the after parties. The graduation
Yeah,
after parties.
because,
My
like, if you
gosh,
can't have a ceremony, can, like, you still, like, gather your friends and hang like, but they said, like, you can't have groups, so
no
it's
large groups. Oh my
yeah, it's kind
gosh.
of like figuring out, like, what you can do, especially, like, right now, like, you should be making reservations for, like, graduation parties, like, if you wanna go someplace or whatnot, you don't even know if places are gonna be open, you can't make those reservations, you can't get the catering or, like, whatever you need for that, uh, you don't know if anything is even gonna be open, it's just kinda crazy.
I,
What's up, Zach?
I heard that from Governor Wolf that starting Friday, we're gonna have things opening.
We are. We're gonna have golf courses, some of the parks. Hey, everybody's gonna go golfing.
George is ahead of us.
What's that?
George is ahead of us on that one. Georgia.
George is definitely ahead of us on that one. I think they've been golfing the entire time. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody stopped. But there's limited things opening, Zach. You're right. We are getting limited openings. Jersey, they put their plan in effect for it. Governor Wolf is putting his plan in effect for it. But once again, we're still uncertain. That's Friday. He didn't say we're going to open them today. We're going to wait till Friday to open them.
Yeah.
And once again, because everything changes day by day, we don't know. We don't know if tomorrow there's going to be another, 2,000 cases that come out of nowhere. It's sort of one of these uncertainty things that we keep hitting. There's a lot of things happening that we can, do while we're doing this. What are you doing, Hannah, to get through the days? What are you doing mentally to get through the days?
Um, FaceTiming my friends is the biggest thing that I've been doing to, like, get through it all mentally. Um, they're probably, like, my biggest support right now, and, like, we're all staying in touch, and I think that's been really important for us because we're lacking those social interactions face to face, like, in person. Um, so still, like, using each other as, like, a resource to, like, have, like, an hour or 2 long conversation, catching up, doing, like, group FaceTimes, and then we've done Zoom parties all together with, like, a lot of us, and not losing that connection with one another, I think, is the biggest thing. And then just sort of taking time for myself at the end of the day to sort of just relax and, like, do some meditation, listen to music, make sure that, like, I'm checking in with myself. And then if I'm not really feeling okay, reaching out to somebody because we're all dealing with the pandemic and the anxiety that it brings. Then you're in self-isolation and, like, you're isolated from everybody, so you're losing those distractions that might sort of keep you not so focused on whatever you might be going through. Um,
Me very much with your attitudes and everything. It's just amazing. Zach, you talked about journaling, and
Yeah.
journaling is something that I'm a firm believer in because I believe journaling helps us, get through our days sometime without being able to verbalize it. Is this something that, you go back and you read, Zach? And is it something that you get something from when you go back and read your journal entries?
Do it so I learn from my mistakes and remember stuff.
Nice. And that's so important. I mean, we all learn from our mistakes, we say. And I don't look at them as being mistakes. I mean, when you're 16 and 17 years old, it's really hard to make a mistake if you don't really know what's
Ideas that
right.
have gone wrong.
What's that?
There are ideas that have gone wrong.
I call them risk takes. There you go.
Oh, yeah,
Ideas that gone wrong. You took a risk, it didn't work out right, you know a little bit better next time. So I love that too. Ideas that gone wrong. Risk is a little bit more of a riskier word. So we'll use that idea. I like that. Who told you that? Ideas that gone wrong. Is that your own?
Just from bad ideas of myself.
Um,
So are we in agreement that the four of us on this call, we all had some bad ideas that gone wrong,
yeah.
Yes.
and we all have learned from them a little bit?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Most of them, yes.
I love it. I love to hear this. I love it. So what are the plans for September if it rolls around? Wake me up when September comes,
I
Um,
like that song.
I love that song too. The band's amazing. So what are you doing are you going to school, Zach?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Have you decided upon one? Have you been looking around?
Something that involves internet technology.
Oh, nice. What do you want to do? Have you checked that box what you want to be when you grow up?
I have many options, but my main one is internet technology.
Internet technology. Very cool. Very cool. Love it. How about you, Jake? What are the plans?
Um, I'm going to L-Tri-C, Lehigh Carbon Community College, and then I'm enrolling in the aviation course because I want to be a pilot.
Love
And
it.
then after those 2 years, I'm probably going to transfer to Utah State University for another 2 years and forward my education there.
Amazing. That's awesome. So is the for L-Tri-C, is the aeronautical school still out at the airport?
Yes.
Still
Well,
there.
yes. I know they fly into it, and I know they also do some stuff with Queen City too.
Okay. All right. Very cool. That's awesome. That's cool to hear. I love it. How about you, Hannah? What's up for you after, if September rolls around for us?
I believe I will be attending Clark University in Massachusetts.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice. What will you be studying? What your major? Have you studied one?
Political science, and then I know what a shock for me to do that. I know.
Shocker for
No,
Hannah.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way with political science. So I hear you.
Um,
Oh my gosh, you poli
I
sci. I was
know.
an English major, and that's only because I was forced to take a major.
What's political science?
And then like there's a
Exactly.
lot of like stuff, other things that like I'm interested in there. They have like a community youth education option that could be like a major or minor, and I think that would be really interesting for me to minor in with political science.
Wow, that's
So
very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. So if I could ask you, what is the one thing at this stage in time that each of you are missing overall about school or anything? What would it be? I'll give you a second to think about that because I saw Jake's head go up and his eyes go up. So, and keep it clean too. Your parents are listening.
Yeah.
Zach, what are you missing the most about doing during this whole pandemic and self-isolation?
Going back to school.
Going back to school. So are you missing that interaction with people, Zach?
Yeah.
You are. You're missing like seeing your friends and the teachers and just having people around you on a daily basis other than your family. Even though your family's amazing, we love you, Vicky. However, and she's laughing back there. It's important to see other people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I hope your friends all know how good of a friend that you are then, because you do miss them and you deserve that. How about you, Hannah? We're gonna go to Jake last since I think he's still thinking about that.
My friends, the social interaction aspect of it, and then also like the routine,
Okay.
which is like a weird thing to say that I miss, but I do miss the routine that I had going. Because this thing is just like up in the air. You have no idea what's like going on. So
Listen,
yeah.
my first semester at college, I did so darn well. I got a 1.6 because I didn't know a routine. I didn't understand it. I was so used to 12 years of my life, 13 years basically of my life going to school every day from a certain time to a certain time, that when I went to college, I was 17 years old. I had no routine, that my life got turned upside down. So to hear you say you miss routine, I get it. It's so hard. Forget everything we learned. Here we are, new norm. So how about you, Jake? What is that one thing you miss?
Well, there's not a whole lot I miss. I mean, I still go hiking a lot. So like I have my best friend and he's kept himself in isolation. So him and I will go hiking a lot. So I mean, I'm a big outdoorsy person, so hiking. So I've been trying to find a lot of places that are still open, but honestly, there's probably not much I'm missing right now because it's not like my life's really changing because I really only have 3 or 4 close friends in my life. Like I don't have like a whole group of people that I'm missing everybody. So I mean, nothing's like feeling like it's changing because I'm still trying to stay active, riding my bike or do something. So I don't really know. There's not much that's like missing, I guess.
Have you been able to see your girlfriend?
Yeah, yeah, we do hiking a lot too. And I like to keep everything like outside and moving because I don't want to become like a couch potato.
I hear you. I hear you. And Zach, are you finding time other than gaming and stuff to enjoy yourself at home and the quiet and the tranquility for now?
Take some walks around the neighborhood.
A lot of walks.
Yeah. And
Walking is so good.
playing guitar.
You play the guitar?
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Acoustic? What do you play?
Electric.
Electric.
I'm playing Nothing Else Really Matters by Metallica.
I am so musically not inclined. You too? Can you sing, Jake? Because I can't sing.
Neither can
I
I.
can't sing.
The only thing I can sing when the volume's all the way up, so I hear the person singing, not me.
Or I can sing Happy Birthday when there's a group of people around. I just keep it real low key.
Yeah, right.
Zach, can you sing? Zach?
Yeah, I can sing, but not as good as professionals can do.
Well, but you can get there if you're practicing, for sure. How about you, Hannah? Are you a singer? Can you sing?
I cannot sing, but I'm sure that my mother can. She did do musical theater,
Good.
but
why I was
that
she's a
did
good singer.
she did not give me that gift. Not at all.
Well, guys, this has been enlightening. You three have such positive attitudes. I mean, not what I actually was expecting. I wasn't really expecting anything this morning when I get on the call. I don't expect a lot when I get on these calls, only because I like to have a free flow of conversation and anything can come up. But you guys have extremely positive attitudes. You have really good outlooks about what's happening here. You are making the best of a really crazy and awful situation that we're all focused and focusing on. And you guys aren't focusing on just yourselves though, which is awesome. You're realizing that it's everybody else affected. So I saw no selfishness in this hour from you guys. And that is just such an amazing and refreshing thing. And I appreciate that. So that's just something, I can't, I can't get over. So thank you guys. You guys rock. You're awesome. Before we head off, Zach, I'm gonna ask you all so you can think about it for a second. What's one thing you want to tell the listeners, your friends, your family, one thing of positivity you want to tell them to get through the rest of this pandemic? If you could give it to them. You want to go first, Zach, or you want me to come back?
I'll go to Jake first.
It's because Jake was last time. I love it. Thank you, Zach. So Jake, what's up? Zach, talk
How you doing? So one thing that I can say, piece of advice or whatnot, it's all in your mentality, how you look at it. You can look at it as a positive thing or a negative. You can always turn a negative situation into a positive situation. Just always have an open mind and, just explore the unnatural, explore things that are new to you, and just, I don't know, like I'm bad with advice. I can't really.
Dude, that's not bad. That's awesome. To explore things that you're not used to is one of the best things you could do in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got to step outside your comfort zone, and that's so important. So I get it. That's awesome. And how about you, Hannah? What do you want to tell them? We're gonna go to Zach last because he's right. He was first last time.
Yeah.
I think just don't be hard on yourself. This pandemic can be hard on all of us in different ways. And just don't compare yourself to like what you see on social media, because like some people are like working out and they're like and eating healthy and they're like, take this time to better yourself, but you don't have to do what other people are doing. Just be mindful of yourself and don't be hard on yourself. I think that's a really important thing.
I think that's important for always, so that's awesome. All right, Zach, it is your turn now. What's the positivity you want to send out?
I just hope everyone stays safe because I know some people are unaware of what's going around.
So true. And I think you're right. I mean, staying safe is one of the things that we don't think about. I think we tend to think that we're invincible and that when we step outside that it can't happen to us,
Yeah.
you know? So, and it definitely can. I mean, and it definitely is. It's happening to everybody right now. We're all affected by it. But, this has been one of the best hours I've had in my entire 55 shows that I've done. So in 55 shows, you guys have really given me a lot to look forward to because here I sat really disgusted and fed up with the way things have been going recently. And to talk to the three of you with your attitudes, you really made my day. So thank you so much for taking the time for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me and us. It's great.
Oh, you got it. And tell all of your parents I said hello and give them each a hug for me, of course. And to the three of you, Hannah, Jake, Zach, I wish you the best in all you do. Bye, Vicky. I see ya. I'll get your text at 5 a.m., Vicky. Don't worry. But I wish you all the best in that you do because you deserve it. You have great attitudes. You have good, positive mental attitude, which is so important to get through life today. And keep it up. Once again, keep doing what you're doing. Keep staying positive and keep being a voice because you guys have one. Thank you all so much. And to all our listeners out there, if you or anybody you know was supposed to graduate this year in the class of 2020, whether a high school senior, whether it's 8th grade, preschool, whether it's college, have a voice, talk to some people, let them know how you're feeling about it because you know what? We're all going through something right now. We all need each other. So thank you all for tuning in today. This is Britt Carpenter on Usula Radio. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe. Opportunity is there.